Just when you thought your quarter-life crisis couldn't get any crazier, COVID-19 comes to town. What's going on, everybody out there going through the quarter-life crisis? My name is Sean Nickel, coming to you live with episode 11 of Valley of the SunDay Scaries, and this is probably the actual scariest SunDay we've had because there's real threats in the world. I'm not going to get too much into that, but I am going to cover a few things about acquired taste. I think the craziest part about doing this podcast is you really start to notice how different life changes from a week-to-week basis, not month-to-month, year-to-year, week-to-week. Last week, there was not a national crisis around the coronavirus. This week, we have social distancing, and we're probably days away from a lot of domestic travel bans being put into place. So life comes at you fast. That's kind of the only way I can describe it. So as you can see next to me, I have a tower full of LaCroix. It's a sparkling water brand. And if you know anything about me, I've spent the last 29 years hating sparkling water. I don't think it tastes very good. I've not been a very big fan. But over the last couple of months, I've been drinking a lot more sparkling water, and I'll kind of explain why, and it all wraps into why acquired taste is so important right now, at least in my life and hopefully in yours as you are out there chasing your passion. So let's dive into this thing. So before I go into LaCroix, I'm going to tell everyone a story that I was told a really, really, really long time ago. And the story goes like this. There was a young man who's about to be deployed, let's call it World War II, and he's going to be out on a ship for months on end. And he wasn't necessarily, nervous or scared about joining the Navy, but he wanted to do a lot of research to make sure that his life on board the ship would be as good as possible. Let's flash forward, he's on the ship, and let's say the beverage choices on these ships are not very plentiful. Let's say there's only two forms of drinks you can have on the ship. One we'll call cola, and the other we'll call slurp. Now, I don't know the names officially of these two drinks, but those sound like two good names that we can use for the sake of this analogy, if you will. Everyone wanted to drink cola, like everybody. It tastes like home. It's refreshing. It's good. Everyone looks forward to cola. But what happens is when you have a specific drink that everybody wants to drink, eventually the drink runs out. And when people got back to the ship and, maybe they've been out, stressed, running for their lives, they sit down, they want to have a cola. And the colas are gone. And in steps the young man from the beginning of the story, and he walks right up to this slurp drink, which, sounds gross, and he cracks it open, he chugs it, and gives everyone a smile and asks if they want one. What he did during his 2 or 3 months before he was deployed is he spent every day drinking slurp. He knew there was only two drink choices on board, so he chose every day to drink slurp and to acquire the taste. And when everyone else was miserable because they're all out of cola, this young man was sitting there, sitting pretty, had an unlimited amount of drinks, was going to have a good experience, or as good of an experience as possible on the ship, and he's just out here drinking slurp. I think the biggest acquired taste in people's lives is beer, right? You think back to the first time you drank a beer, and it's usually you hated it. Like that's the normal, taste at first. You hate it. And then you drink it again and again and again. And then eventually, there's nothing that sounds better after a long week of work than a nice ice cold beer. I say all of that because with my new lifestyle of trying to be healthier, I can't drink pop. And I love pop. I love Coke specifically. And so I tried sparkling water. It's carbonated. I wanted to have something to kind of get that fill. And then, recently I hated it. And I kept drinking it and I kept hating it. And eventually, you just kind of wake up one day and it's not bad and you can stomach it, and eventually it's somewhat enjoyable. I'm not saying that LaCroix tastes better than Coke by any means, but you acquire the taste of something. The craziest part is you go into these stores and everything is bought out, and me and my wife Christine walk into the store and we're grabbing all the foods we normally eat. And it's not like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and cauliflower are in real high demand. So we acquired those tastes too, and it's kind of paying off at this moment because we're going to be eating the foods that no one else wants to eat, and it's not going to be any different change to our lifestyle, which is nice. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been acquiring the taste of a lot of things, waking up earlier, working out, getting healthy, drinking things like LaCroix instead of pop, reading books. And if you can acquire those tastes in your life will be a lot more enjoyable. So you have a couple different ways to look at these next couple of weeks, especially with the coronavirus and COVID-19 and what might happen, and our domestic travel is going to stop. Are we going to not be allowed to leave the country? All this stuff. You can look at it as, one, man, I can catch up on all this Netflix and Hulu, and I can binge watch TV, and I can play video games. This will be sweet. That is one way you could look at it. Or you can do what I'm doing, and I'm taking those extra hours I'm about to get into my day because I'm work from home full time now, and those extra hours that I would spend normally out at night or with people that I know, and I'm going to invest it heavily. I'm going to read as many books as possible. Right now, I've moved on to my third, I think, book of the year. It's called $1 Trillion Coach by Bill Campbell. But I moved on to my third book of the year, and I'm trying to finish that one today, actually. And I'm just trying to learn and get as good as possible as I possibly can. So I challenge all of you to acquire some taste over these next couple of weeks. The world's about to get real weird. So I want you to acquire some taste, whether it's reading, learning. Take this time you have now to chase your passions and to really get ahead of the game. So at the end of the day, when it comes to acquired taste, I'm not saying you gotta love everything, but sometimes all it takes is just to not hate something. To not hate waking up early, to not hate going to work out, to not hate reading, to not hate, being healthier. And sometimes not hating something is all the difference. So welcome to the Valley of the Sun, and we'll talk to you soon.